Hello coders, I hope you are coding well. In the previous video, we created delete employee API in our Spring Boot application, and in today's video, we will call this delete employee API from our React application. So let's get started. So in the VS Code, we will create a new method to call the API. So we will mention constant and we will name this as handle delete, and this will be an asynchronous function. So we will mention async keyword, and in the params we need to accept employee ID, and after this we will write arrow function, and in the body of this function we will write try catch block, and in the try block we will create constant variable and we will name this as response, and here we will use await keyword and we will use fetch method, and to give the URL we will use backticks because we want to pass the employee ID inside this, and we need to mention our basic URL which is http localhost 8080. So let's paste it here, and after this we need to give the API URL which is /API/employee/ID. So after 8080 slash we will mention API/employee, and after the employee we need to pass the employee ID, so we will use dollar and then curly braces to pass the variable, and here we will mention employee ID, and after the URL we will write curly braces, and here we need to mention the method, and because this is a delete API, so we will mention delete in the method. And after this, let's write one console log statement and we will show the message employee with ID, and here we will inject the employee ID variable and then we will show deleted successfully. And after this we will go to the catch block, and inside this block we will use console.error and we will show error deleting employee, and then we will pass error.message. And with this the code to call the delete API is completed. Now we need to call this handle delete method on the click of the delete button. So we will go to the HTML code, and here in the delete button tag we will mention on click event, and on the click we will call a method which is handle delete, and in the params we need to pass the employee ID which we can get by calling employee.id. Now let's save this file and let's run our application. And as you can see, our application is up, but we can see one warning related to the response variable because it is not used yet, and we will handle this after some time. So let's go to the browser now and let's validate the functionality of delete API. And on the dashboard of our application we can see the employees. Now let me create a new employee, so I will click on this post employee button, and after adding the details of the employee I will click on this post employee button, and as you can see now we have two employees in our application. Now let's right click on the page and let's click on inspect, and after this let's click on the console tab, and after this let's click on the delete button of our employee 2, and as you can see we got the message employee with ID 4 deleted successfully. But as you can see the data on this page haven't got updated, but our delete API is working fine, and when we refresh our page you will see the updated data. Now let's go back to our React application and let's write the code to automatically update the data after the delete API. So in the handle delete method, after the response we will write one if condition, and in this if condition we will check if response dot OK. So if we got the OK response from our API call, then we need to update the data, and we will call set employees method here, and in the params of this method we need to send the previous state of our employees use state, and to do that we will mention previous employees and then we will write arrow function, And in the body we will use previous employees, and we will call filter method, and we will name the single employee as employee. And after this we need to write the arrow function, and here we need to compare the id of the employee with the id which we got in the params. So we will write employee dot id, and here we will use not equal to sign, and we will mention employee id. And with this, the code to update the page data is completed. Now let's save this file. And as you can see, our application got compiled successfully. Now let's go to the browser, and here let's click on this post employee button, and let's add one employee. And after adding the details, let's click on this post employee button, and as you can see, we got two employees. Now let's say we want to delete the employee 1, so we will click on this delete button, and as you can see, we got the message and our page data got updated as well. And that's it for this video. From the next video we will work on the update employee section, and in that section first of all we need to create an API to get the details of the employee by the ID. So we will create that API in our Spring Boot application in the next video.